fact. That was.
No more room in hell. The dead will walk here.
What's up, everyone, and welcome. Well, tonight it's two corners of horror. We are down one corner. I think the cat's got his tongue. I'm not quite sure. But it's gonna be me, and of course, let me introduce you guys. My brother, JR. What's going on?
It's good, interesting film. Was it more of an attachment, or more like you wanted to be seriously separated?
All right. Well, I am Joe the psychologist. So tonight we're going to be discussing the 2022 Shudder original Attachment. The movie is directed by Gabriel Beer Gislason. It stars Ellie Kendrick as Leah, Josephine Park as Maja, David Densick as Lev, and Sophie Grabruel as Chana, who was in the house that Jack built, which we had reviewed. She was actually in Incident 3, and you guys know how I felt about that one. And if you didn't, go check out the review. This movie is about Leah and Maja, who have this chance meeting at a little children's play. Maja is kind of a washed-up actress now. So they have this little chance meeting, go out for drinks, they fall in love. Leah has to go back to the UK. And when she decides to leave, she comes back and decides she's going to stay. So Leah decides to stay. And when she stays, she ends up having a seizure. And during this seizure, which I don't know about you, but like when that happened, I cringed.
Yeah.
Like, and I probably would have passed out if somebody's leg would have broken in my arms, to be quite honest with you. Like, she probably would have woke up and found me passed out next to her. But so after this incident, Leah now has to go back, and Maja offers to go back and go with her and help her. And this is where we go back to the UK, and Leah introduces Maja to Chana. So, JR, I mean, this was your choice of a movie, and like honestly, I think we decided this like what 2-3 days ago. So it was when I watched it. Like I work overnights, and I had to watch it in the morning, and I had to pause it and go to bed without finishing a movie, which killed me. And I wanted to finish this movie. But JR, your initial thoughts on this film? You brought it up. So what are your thoughts on this one?
What I like about this film is it starts very subtle. It starts like I stumbled upon this film. I was just surfing, and I was like, let me go on Shudder. Oh, let me watch this. So when you start watching it, you get that whole love story. It is a slow burn. It is a very slow burn.
You are the specialty in slow burn.
But for me, it's a well done slow burn because it doesn't give you exactly what's happening, or what's on the horizon too quickly. It gives you subtle hints here and there, and then you start questioning what exactly is going on. And Leah, I mean, what a great character. The way she pulled off some of the stuff. I mean, here you have a person who is going through seizures, going through moments where she just basically blanks out, does all these sounds, which I'm sorry. I mean, I would have woke up. I don't know how Maya slept through some of the stuff.
Thank you. Literally, when I heard that, I'm like, I wake up at any kind of noise, and not to hear the clicking and gurgling that was going on.
But yeah, it was interesting because you had good characters. You have very good characters, and I've always been a fan of a small cast because you get to focus on the characters even more. And you had the three characters: Maja, Leah, and Chana, the mom, and their relationship was kind of, you sense the power struggle, and you thought, all right, is this what the film's going to be about? Power struggle between these three individuals. You got the mommy's little girl basically being pulled two different directions. But what I like about it, that wasn't what it was really about. And the more we start exploring, the more things start coming out. You're like, all right, shit's about to go down in this one.
A lot of what you said I agree with. When you brought it up and you messaged and said it's a slow burn, so you were setting me up. However, I mean, for it being a slow burn, it wasn't actually all that bad as far as the slow burn part. it was, I mean, it was a gay love story. So, it was good to see representation, and, and it was actually done really right. I really, and both characters. I love the Hana character, but it was great because, even to before we get to the next part, um, even though some things were kind of even put there, it wasn't actually clearly there. So this movie dealt a lot with, and I apologize to the community if you watch if I say any of the stuff wrong, but Hebrew and Jewish mysticism and iconography. When we got to that part, my ears perked up. I love lore. I love magic stuff. I love that kind of stuff. So I'm like, all right, pay attention here, because first of all, Maya's walking down the street just checking out the town, and she happens to walk into a shop, meets this guy who then starts filling her in about things. So for me, I love that part of this story, because it just, you now know that this is centered on something else, and it's centered on something excuse me, it's centered on something ancient. So that just adds more to that lore of it. And when he was at I think the book was called the Citra Akra, which in translation is the other side. And it showed how there was the golem, the witch of Endor, which, according to what they said, was the only witch mentioned in the Bible. There's going to be another one, which we'll discuss shortly. But I really liked. I like when movies introduce this kind of stuff, because it's a little bit more on the grounded.
Yeah.
For when it comes to supernatural, when you see other supernatural ones that they attach it to something that doesn't exist. And there was another one. I don't know if it was on Hulu or Shudder, where I think it was Jewish also, where the guy had to sit there and watch the person as they're dying. And it turns out, I'm gonna look that one up. We should probably, I'll mention that to you. But yeah, this one, I love the religious part of it. It showed you everything, and then in this, book is all these things that are going to come up. We'll talk about the other one later. But how did you like the mysticism and the iconography in the movie?
I liked it because it's not something I have knowledge of. I mean, when we usually do religious horror films, it's always the Catholic, Christian religion, and to do a film that's a total religion that I have no knowledge of, I don't know anything about. It got me curious. It got me, wondering where they were going. Because when they grabbed the book, the first thing when I think of some, like Middle Eastern type religions, you think of the Muslim and the jinn. So I was like, are they going to go the jinn route? But they didn't, which I'm kind of
think of that.
They didn't do that. They stood within the Hebrew, and you had these subtle things like the fact that she's wearing a necklace that her mom gave her for protection,
That she's never taken off.
She's never taken off, and then when Maya meets the mom gives her an amethyst. Here you go. Never take this off. Always keep this on. So you had these subtle hints of, all right, a lot of protection going on. And then when she goes into this, it's this tight knit community, and it's like everybody knows everybody's business. And the fact that when she went into the store, it kind of the minute that she said who she was with, you're like, all right, so now this guy's bringing it. Okay, you should read this real quick. You should take a look at this stuff. You're like, all right, what's going on? That he's quick to show her all this stuff. But yeah, I mean, I wanted to know more, and I think it's something where I'm definitely going to start looking out for more films like it with the Hebrew religion. Like the only one I've seen that's close to, well, not closest, but the found footage film Jerusalem.
I still have to see that one.
It's a very interesting film, is especially the way they take the whole religious aspect to it, and it was interesting for me. But this one went deeper, and I kind of appreciated that. I'm kind of glad they did it, and for somebody who is not accustomed to seeing this religion, it felt fresh, and that's what I like about it. It felt very fresh.
Yeah, completely agree. I mean, on that, because, well, and I know a little bit about some of the stuff, and when we do these, anytime it involves religion, or I'm the one that kind of knows a little bit more. I mean, I researched it a little bit, obviously, but I do know some of this stuff already. In this book that the Citra Akra that Lev shows to Maya, as she's flipping through the pages, you are shown to, and I guess the red herrings, we'll call them, because obviously something that she's looking through is what you are going to be seeing. One of the things was called the Daibuk, which is a spirit that attaches to a living human being. And Maya referred to it as a ghost, and Lev just kept on going, no, it's not a ghost. You know, it's very polite how they were to each other, because honestly, if we would have ran one of those stores and the person would have came in like Maya did and said, we would have been like, let me just tell you what's going on over there. You know, he was more subtle about it, you know, and even when, because again, his reaction gives you now what's coming up ahead a little bit. I didn't pick up on that. And I'm waiting because I'm trying to even, I'm going a little ad lib here without notes because I was wrong. This movie also gave me the fact that I had thought it was going to be something totally different from the book. But so the Daibuk attaches to the living person, and it's not like a ghost. I mean, it's just like entity of sorts.
Yeah.
And it turns out all along that all this weirdness has been going on in the house. The candle part, realizing now that somebody's actually, and it wasn't to be creepy, somebody's standing out there to guard and keep that candle on. It was, you know, because if you might have thought it was like an evil spirit, but, you know, and I don't even know if it was Hannah. I think Hannah had help. Because did they show something a little later on that I thought that it showed a guy putting a candle down and lighting it?
Put the candle down. Put a plate too. There was a plate like hitting somewhere, and there was also, I think, salt too. That was spread on the corners.
Well, salt, salt is like a way to ward off spirits. But so as it turns out, the reveal in this movie is that Hannah, and even including Lev, have been trying to protect Leah, who actually has a Daibuk in her. So, JR, like the reveal itself, how did you take did you see the reveal coming? Did you like the reveal?
I didn't see it coming. I think what red flagged it for me that there was something up was when, I keep messing on the brain, the mom, Yana, right?
Hannah.
Hannah.
Literally, just
Hannah.
don't pronounce the C.
Right,
after you see it a while, and I have subtitles on, so just so when you see the name, just don't pronounce the C. It's Hannah.
So when Hannah's behavior the whole time when Leah came back home was very overprotective. I don't want you leaving the house. I don't want you leaving this area type. Where she literally broke her leg again and she's massaging it. She's going over her leg. So she see her go like that, like she's almost snapped it again.
See, I thought that she actually had fixed her. So
because she prevented from healing. Because remember, she was still almost healing with Maya, but I think Maya kept wondering why she keeps massaging that leg like that. And then the second time is when she saw her like twist it, you hear the snap.
I'm gonna let you finish, because remind me to jump on that rope because there's something I thought about that. But go ahead and finish.
Yeah. So then you get the whole thing. Now it was the whole community because remember, Hannah was going to all these shops to get like special ingredients. One that she was putting inside the soup that like Leah was like, oh, you got some of my soup, and Hannah was like, no, this is only for her. This is only for her. Also, I'm thinking, man, Hannah's a real pain in the ass, but you understood that she was giving everything and trying to control Leah to basically restrict her movement, restrict her from going anywhere because she knew the danger Leah was. And like when Lev basically, I mean, remember this, there was a struggle where Lev and Hannah didn't want Maya to know what was really going on.
Lev did.
Yeah. Because Lev knew that there was something they could do to stop this, but Hannah was always resistant, whereas she wanted to just be able to control Leah to not have her to go to that next step. But as far as the overall reveal, I mean, she did a hell of a job. I mean, the noises she makes, the cracking of the bones in different scenes. I mean, I think one of the best scenes, which I'll just point it out, we'll talk about it in a few, was when they go to the cabin and she's
The hair brushing. I got so
brushing her hair.
stressed
I
up with the
thought
hair
she was gonna
brushing.
pull hair out or something was coming off, but then when she turns around and the lady
Well,
was
she
like,
had a bald spot.
"Yeah," the lady was like, "Have you seen my cat?" And she just keeps combing her hair, and then I saw your cat, like with a different voice. I'm like, "Oh my god!" So I thought the reveal was done very smart because a lot of movies have a tendency of doing it too soon, and this one literally waited till the end to really show one thing how much this thing was torturing Leia, and two, how her mother. I mean, the whole time you thought her mother was just mean and evil and
Yeah.
a-hole. You thought her mother was always up to something, but it turned out her mother was doing what mothers do, protect their daughter to the point where we'll talk about it in a few what she was willing to do with her daughter. But yeah, overall, I thought it was well done. No CGI, which was great.
Yep.
Everything was practical effects, practical movements, and yeah, I thought the reveal was amazing. What about you?
All right. So for me, to touch upon some of the stuff you were saying, because I was trying to remember all in my head. So I what I actually thought that Hannah did was, because she's been taking care of Leia all along, is that when she has these seizures, things pop out in place, so she puts them back in place. So she said, "I'm going to give you your special massage." It was these special massages that she did. So what I think was, every time she would have the seizures, and because you saw how she contorted. So in the contorting with the dye boot, things went knocked out of place when they did whatever they had to do to put it back in. She had to fix her to whatever the spirit was doing to her body. So that's actually what I thought, because I think she just knows, she's been doing it for so long that she knows that the knee joints and the shoulders, she needs to pop them back in place and fix it, because she was fixed after that when
Well,
she did that. So
when
when
she left, remember she was still limping, and then she left, and then when she left, she still had the brace on.
she had the brace on, but so that's what I think it was. I think that Hannah had all these years with these seizures that Leah's had, that she doesn't remember, because all the I guess magic, I mean, I'm just going to call it magic, that they've been using to keep her protected, she doesn't remember all this stuff going on. I really actually like the ending, because this is your pick of a movie. I'm gonna let you wrap up on explain some of the things, but it was an interesting twist on an exorcism, because towards the end it's actually what ends up happening. The fact that the Daibu planned that, another great twist, because it was kind of like, I knew that eventually, and when he tells Hannah, "Oh, all the stupid stuff that you did," it's like, you're like, wow.
Yeah.
So I mean, talk about tormenting. Like it knew it was in there. I'm just gonna stay here. This moment is going to have to happen. So, Jr., I'm gonna let you. Like I said, this was your choice of a movie. I'm already here on this movie, so. But tell us what happened to Hannah, and ultimately, what was Maya's fate in this, because of the end.
What I liked about it too is now this is a slow burn, but once you get into this whole cabin, there are some good scare moments in this cabin. Like when Maya walks in and Hannah's like combing her hair, and she's like, "Oh, we gotta go. You don't look good. Oh, I'm not pretty." It was the constant taunt. And then she starts the whole movement thing. Then basically starts chasing her or playing hide and seek almost, because there's one scene where Maya goes outside looking for her, and you see her inside in the window just walk by, like, "Oh my god, this is so cool." But what happens is eventually Hannah, Lev, and Maya are able to hold Leia in, it looked like the attic.
Well,
Yeah.
what it looked like is that Leia had done that upstairs,
Yeah.
because
So,
that's where she had that poor little old lady who was looking for a kitty cat.
yeah. So, and then one thing I like too is when she was in the middle of attacking Maya, when Lev walked in and Heine walked in, and they were able to control the die book by having it stay in place because it was all don't worry, it can't move.
He said if it went before he walked in, you heard his voice chant something.
Yeah.
And then that was pretty fucking cool.
I love that because any other possession film would have went with the let's go all out, let's kill everybody, which they didn't. I kind of like that, the fact that the die book could not move, but it was able, like you said, was able to talk a little bit more. And then this is when Lev goes, we only have one option, and we have to call the Devourer Souls. When I heard that, I was like, oh, that's cool as hell. The
I know. I wanted to see the Devourer Souls.
And like, but here's the catch. The Devourer Souls will come, and it would take the die book, but will also needs to take basically a sacrifice. A soul for a soul in order to save this
inside
soul.
that ring.
Yes. So this is where Hannah decides to walk into the ring and sacrifice herself and basically let the Devourer take her in order to save her daughter. What I like about this, though, even though we get to see the possible exorcism, the fact that even when the film ends, you still have Maja getting the secret ingredients, doing everything that Hannah did because they weren't really sure, even though Hannah got sacrificed, if it actually worked. So they were still taking all these precautions, which I kind of like because it left it open-ended. Like, all right, did she really sacrifice herself for no reason? Because now you remember the die book, like you said, the die book goes, all the things you did. So yeah, it's just I love it.
What I actually so when they put it in the ring and did their ritual, the soul that's in that ring is what gets sacrificed.
Right.
And if it doesn't, then they all die who's outside of that ring.
Right.
So when she picked her up, which it was like, it's weird because in my head going, that's so simple. It's so simple and so just, but before that, Hannah and Maja had their interaction.
Yes,
where Maja said, I love her. And she says, I know. So I think it was Hannah knew that somebody loved Leah as much as she did.
Mm-hmm.
So swapping bodies because the soul had to be in that ring.
Yes.
But all she did was swap the soul. She swapped her soul for Leah's soul. So therefore, the die book was still in her because she made her put the pendant back on.
Mm-hmm.
And Leah goes, am I safe? And as she's walking to the door, as you said, the bag opens and you see a little black satchel. And you're like, oh, fuck.
I'm going to jump on something you said earlier, how this was filmed about a gay couple. It didn't feel like it was pushed on you. It felt very natural. And even when you thought the reason that Hannah acted a certain way towards Mia, you knew it wasn't because of that. It was because it didn't really show in the film any resentment towards, all right, so my daughter's dating another woman. It didn't matter.
No.
And that's what I like about this film. It didn't matter. It wasn't pushed. The envelope wasn't pushed, but it was done so good because both these actresses, this whole cast was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Very amazing cast. And I think this is what worked well in the film is Leah's reaction towards everything, her struggle with this thing inside her, the seizures she did. I mean, I haven't seen somebody do seizures that good.
Yeah.
That long, too. Where it felt believable. You believe these characters. You felt for these characters. And like we were saying, it's a slow burn. The reveal took time. Several things here and there. And there's actually one scene that we didn't talk about, which was interesting, was Maja knew she had to get Leah away from Hannah. So she faked that Hannah put peanut oil or the
peanuts. She actually put in the chicken.
So Mike could get a reaction and Leah could be like, you try to kill her, so that we're out. That was another good thing. There was there was subtle twists and turns in this film, which worked well because you didn't know where the film was going. And the last, 20, 15, 20, 30 minutes of the film was where it really started building up and escalating, where you understood what was really going on. And the movie ended in such a subtle, perfect way without having to go the gore extreme. Let's go chaos. The way the lady looking for her cat got killed, you didn't see, which
Right.
I like that because you didn't need to. It
The
wasn't
reveal was
needed.
good that
Yeah.
you found out that she was dead.
Yeah, you didn't need. This is one of the films you did not need the gore because the story and the characters carried the narrative of the film. So for me, I'm gonna give this a 4.5. I wanted to give it a 5. If there's one slight small nitpick, and it's only because this is like thirst for knowledge, I wanted to know more about the D book, about the Witch of Endor. So that's my only nitpick. If they would adapt a little bit more into the religious aspect, just to give us more information, but at the same time, I didn't want it to be added just to add more time to the film. So it's one of those double-edged swords. But yeah, 4.5 for me.
This was a huge, I loved it. I really did love the movie. The gay relationship was done right. As you said, it wasn't in your face. And now that you bring up the peanut, I actually think that I think she actually did eat the peanut to have reaction.
She did.
So that was probably because when Hannah didn't do it, Hannah goes, "Wow, you love my daughter this much that you're willing. You told us how severe this is for you." So that's where I think Hannah, you brought it up. I was going to bring it up before, but now talking, that's where I think Hannah realized just how much Leah. Yeah, no, all around, I love the acting. I know you're like, I probably by now people are going to start realizing what all our genres of movies are. And if you guys didn't know, JR is the slow burn kids. So slow burn, it didn't feel slow because it felt more like of a progression of a story, as opposed to slow burn by having all these little things being put in there just to drag out the movie.
Yeah.
Everything was a progression in the story in this. And there was not one unlikable character in the movie. You actually felt a lot more for Hannah towards the end. The scene where she got drunk and she locked herself out. Shit, who hasn't locked herself out of their house while they're drunk? However, I never thought about trying to just keep hitting because I thought about oh gosh, she's possessed too. And then no, she's like, I locked myself out. And then she's like, don't get her. I'm a little drunk right now. But I think so that scene just showed that Hannah was able to have a small little opportunity in her life that she's been working so hard to protect her daughter, that somebody else was watching her daughter, that she let loose for this moment. This movie's actually, because again, ratings is all subjective. If you guys watch this, it's when we're rating it, we're never really, it's not bashing each other's movies. It's all subjective. I mean, what some of us like, we don't like. This one's also a 4.5 for me. It's a storyline, characters. I mean, you've got the mythology in here. It's all great stuff of a horror movie that doesn't rely on blood, splatter, gore. Thank you for joining us. Rick will be back for the next episode. It's actually going to start looking a little bit different for the next couple of weeks because actually for the next episode, JR is not going to be joining us for the next one. The fourth corner, Lexi will be here for that one. But if you missed Rick, he just dropped The Divide, and I'll be back this weekend for the movies that fucked me up. And I think, JR, aren't you guys wrapping up? What's your story?
What's your story? We have one more episode left on that. We have more shows coming, surprise shows. So
all right,
next month is gonna be cool.
Well, with that said, damn it, Rick, I forgot to. We all cheers for big bottles of beers. I got much left, so we all cheer for what's left in my beer. With that, hit the subscribe, hit the follow, get those notifications so when new episodes drop, you guys already know. Until then, I am Joseph the Psychologist. This is my brother JR, and we are out.